order the February 24, 2026 meeting of the High Point Regional High School Board of Education. Please stand for the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open Public Meetings Act Statement. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Augusta, Branchville, and Sussex post offices, and notice sent to the New Jersey Herald, the Sunday Herald, and the clerk of the boroughs of Branchville and Sussex, and the townships of Frankfort, Lafayette, and Wantage. Mission Statement. High Point Regional High School, in partnership with staff, family, and community, is dedicated to the quest for individual excellence. By fostering high standards of achievement, we prepare students to become responsible and productive members of a diverse society. May I call for a roll, please?
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Ms. Longberg? Here. Ms. Orsi?
Here.
Ms. Diaz?
Here.
Ms. Stackis?
Here.
Ms. Gall? Mr. Van Stone?
Here.
Ms. Hill? Here. Ms. Wise? Dr. Rickford?
Here.
We do have a quorum. And Wayne, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
That's
you.
right.
My apologies.
We still have a quorum.
We still have a quorum.
A motion will now be made that the High Point Regional High School Board of Education enter executive session to provide an update on legal, personnel, and negotiations items which are exempt from public participation pursuant to New Jersey Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Any discussions held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public when appropriate. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session in person and virtually at the conclusion of the executive session. It is not anticipated that any action will be taken. I will make that motion. May I please have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The executive session. Turn to public session.
I'll make it.
In a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are back in public session. The first item of business we have, I'd like to welcome Ms. Kelly Mitchell from New Jersey School Board, who is here this evening to conduct school board member ethics training. So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Thanks for having me. So at your desks there, you have a packet with the acknowledgement of receipt. If you just sign that and then give that to Kathy, so that says that you completed the training itself. And then you have the code of ethics underneath there, and then you have a 12-month board member responsibilities. I just always put that in there just so you know month to month what you should be doing as a board member. And then there's a chart in there about definitions of relationships, and we'll talk about that in the presentation itself. So tonight we're going to talk about the Code of Ethics and the Ethics Act. And just as a disclaimer, this is for informational purposes only. It's not meant to give you any type of legal advice. So if you do require any legal advice, you go through the board president as per your policy. So tonight we're going to talk a lot about the Ethics Act, and when we talk about the Ethics Act, we talk about the respect and the confidence of the people. And we talk about what our conduct is as a board member to make sure that we don't violate the confidence of the public. This is actually the commission itself. It's 9 members. It's 5 non-school officials, 2 school administrators, and 2 school board members. As you can see there, those 2 seats are vacant, so if you have any more time for volunteers, you can go ahead and put your name in for that. So under that umbrella of the Act, we're going to talk about the mandatory training that we need to do, the Code of Ethics, those fund disclosures that we do every year, and then the prohibited acts itself. So mandatory training, if you're a brand new board member, you need to get that done within the first 90 days. That's very, very important. So if you are brand new and you haven't done that yet, please get that in. We did have 2 weekends the past 2 months, but now you can do it online. Then if you're in that second year, you do governance 2, and we have the end of the year to do that. So December 31st, you have to have that done by. That's a finance and student achievement component to it, and it's just been updated, so it's very engaging and quite interesting. Then governance 3 would be in that 3rd year, and that's policy and labor relations, and we have somebody from our legal team speak to labor relations, which is always quite interesting, especially if you're in the negotiation year. And then the following, that 4th year, if you were re-elected or reappointed, you come back onto the board, you would be doing governance 4, and those are legal updates. You can do any of these at any time, but they only count for those years that you're in there. But governance 2, 3, and 4, you do have until the end of the year to get that done. Financial disclosures. If you're a brand new board member, you need to get that done in the first 90 days of when you were sworn in. Everybody else has until April 30th, but having said that, the sooner you can get that in, the better. Your VA will send you a link for the disclosure itself. When you fill that all in, just as a little tip, if you save it as a PDF after you're done and then email it out, you won't lose all the information. A lot of times board members fill that in, don't save it as a PDF, and then when you go to send that, it becomes problematic because you lose all that data. So just a little tip there. We put this case in because we're seeing that board members are kind of like rushing through that disclosure and they're not filling it out completely. This board member had a reprimand because they didn't say anything about their spouse and a business interest that they had. So please read through every single question. They seem redundant, but there are little nuances to them. So they're a little bit different. So please make sure that you read through and fill it out correctly. Because remember, they are a public document, so somebody in the community can look at it and then let the Ethics Commission know that you didn't fill it out. So we're seeing that this is the society that we're living in nowadays. So we're just going to go quickly through the code of ethics itself. So letter A speaks to when you were sworn in, that you were going to uphold all the rules, laws, and regulations of the state itself. So that's what letter A speaks to. Letter B speaks to making sure that when you're making decisions, you're making it for all the students as a whole. It's important to think about that when you're doing any type of policy making or any type of rules in general. Letter C, I love letter C because it speaks directly to your role as a board member. Sometimes board members feel like their role is much bigger, but it's policy making, planning, and appraisal. And that's it. That's your umbrella of oversight. So letter C speaks very directly to that. So it's important to be mindful of that. Sometimes board members kind of go outside their lane and we always have to redirect them to letter C. Letter D speaks about not administering the school, so you're not rolling up your sleeves and getting involved in your day-to-day activity. You're just sitting in that balcony view and you're looking down at the dancers on the dance floor, but you're not telling them what to do. So it's that role of oversight. Letter E, we're seeing some problems with letter E because board members are having a hard time going from campaign mode into board service. They're making a lot of personal promises, and that's very common when you're campaigning to be on the board, but then you realize once you're on the board, you're part of a big team, so you have no individual authority, therefore you have no ability to have any personal promises to anyone. Letter F, we're seeing unfortunately a lot of that because of political groups. Remember, we're not partisan here at the board, and sometimes political groups will support you when you're campaigning, but politics have no place here at the board, so you have to be mindful of that. Letter G, confidentiality. So when you go into executive closed session, you know that everything that's said there has to be kept confidential. But sometimes also when you're in committees, you're having information and conversations that maybe isn't ready for public consumption. So it's really important to be mindful of that when you're in committees, that some of that information is confidential as well. And letter H, when you're speaking about certain personnel, recommendations, that's all for the superintendent to do. That's not the role of a board member. Of course, you have the right to vote, but only the superintendent can recommend somebody for a position. And then letter I, sometimes we see issues with social media with this. We're seeing sometimes board members chime in on social media about staff members. Remember, as a board member, you should uphold everything that the staff does in good duty of their position. So just make sure that you don't get caught in that type of trap. And letter J speaks very specifically to chain of command. So a lot of times when you're in the grocery store and somebody comes up to you and is disgruntled with something that's going on in the district, a board member feels like maybe they should just go and try to fix it themselves. And that's something that you should not be doing. You should be referring that to the lowest level of chain of command so that community member comes up to you and they're disgruntled, and of course, you're a barometer for the community, so you're listening with a sympathetic ear. However, you should give that complaint over to the superintendent, also let the board president know of that situation, and always understand chain of command, because that's where we're supposed to direct the community member to, is that lowest level of chain of command. So that's a code of ethics. If you have any questions on that, please, this can be discussion based, so if you have any questions, please just raise your hand and interrupt me. Ethics complaints. So ethics complaints, everybody can put in for that if they feel that a board member has violated the code of ethics. They do have 180 days to do so, and they have to make sure that they say what the section of the act is, and then give some evidence to that, and make sure that it's factual evidence. So when they do that, sometimes that's where it falls apart because the community member really doesn't understand that that evidence is a key piece to that complaint itself. So we usually get about 85 complaints per year at the Ethics Commission. These are the penalties if you're found guilty of one of those complaints. So you would have a reprimand, which is basically just a slap on the wrist, and a letter saying that you were found guilty of in violation of the code. But that's basically it. It's slap on the wrist, and please don't do that again. Then it gets a little bit more serious. It goes to a censure. A censure is something that would have to be read at a public meeting and then put on the website for 30 days. So that's adopted as a resolution, so that's a little bit stronger. And then a suspension is usually 30 to 60 days, depending on what happens. But that's actually quite strong if you get removed for 30 to 60 days. And then removal, we haven't seen that often lately, but now we're starting to see it because board members are not completing their mandatory training on time. So you will be removed if you don't complete that training on time. They're taking that very seriously. You'll get a series of emails, but once that series of emails is over, they will remove you from the board. So just be mindful of that. Advice of counsel defense. We're seeing a lot of this where board members say, okay, I was found in violation, but the board attorney said that I could go ahead and do any type of conduct with what I did. And that's fine, you can use that defense, but it has to have all four of those components in it. You have to make sure that you have full disclosure to the board attorney, that you follow the board attorney's advice to the exact letter, and that you didn't do that prior to letting the board attorney know that you were going to do a certain type of conduct. So if you don't have all four of those factors in there, the commission will say that you cannot use advice of attorney defense. And then these are some of the cases that I put in your electronic packet. You don't have to read through all of them, but I just do want to point out a couple. There was that bottom one, the reprimand there, a board member utilized their board email to email the CPAC that said that they were coming to the meeting. As somebody that was going to sit at the CPAC meeting, that's your parent hat, that's not your board member hat. So you shouldn't be using your board email for anything other than your official work here at the board team. So just make sure that you don't utilize that board email for anything other than that. And then this one in the middle, I always say, like, board members, some of the more seasoned board members say, well, why do we have to sit through this every year? And this one really speaks to that. So it's a 15-plus year board member. We thought it was a good idea to drive over to a staff member's house, pick up a letter, hand it to the BA, tell the BA, don't tell the superintendent, didn't recuse herself when they did speak about it, continued to advocate for that staff member. The commission really frowned upon that, and that board member was removed for 60 days. So even board members that are quite seasoned sometimes go off the rails. So this is why we talk about these ethics complaints and cases. This is newer guidance, about 2 years old now. So recusal versus abstention. An abstention is for anything that you don't have enough information for. So you were abstaining from a vote if you felt like you just didn't have enough information, if you were absent or whatnot. A recusal is if you have a legal conflict. So if you have, some type of relationship with a staff member and you're voting on that, you would recuse yourself from the discussion and from the vote. So any type of legal conflict, you would go ahead and recuse yourself from the discussion and the vote, not just the vote itself. Because of the discussion, sometimes you can tip the scales for the vote for the rest of the board members, so that's why we're saying to recuse yourself from the discussion. In your packet, I put a definition of the relationships that you would have for conflict, but you could be involved in negotiations, things like that. So that's in the back. Just keep that as a chart. That comes directly from the commission itself. And then advisory opinions, that's under the umbrella of the Ethics Commission as well. We get back probably about 35 of them a year. And it's if a board member feels like they wanted to do some type of conduct, but they weren't sure if it was a conflict. So they write like a little rendering of it, send it into the Ethics Commission, and the Ethics Commission gives us an advisory back. They just ask that if you are going to do that, to read through all the advisories to make sure that it's not being repeated, because there's quite a few advisories. And you get those through school board notes in your email. And then this cute little police officer is there because a lot of times board members say, you know, it's just routine, you really have to abide by it. And we say, well, the police officer said that if you had some type of action, you would get arrested, you wouldn't test that guidance, so please don't test the guidance of the commission. And then in your electronic copy, you'll see I put all hyperlinks to recent advisories that were released in 2025. We also put in the definition of benefit because sometimes as a board member you think that you're not protected, but there is maybe an indirect benefit that you're getting from a certain type of vote. So when you are choosing to vote on something, make sure that you don't have like the direct some type of business conflict or what have you with that vote. These are some of the things that are listed under that umbrella of prohibited acts, so make sure that you recuse yourself if you're going to get any type of favor, financial gain, if there's any type of business interest or financial involvement, if you have any conflicts there, make sure that you do recuse yourself from those votes. And then these are some of the cases. I put those in your electronic copy. And then also we know that as board members, we can't hire one of your relatives, and you can't hire a relative of the superintendent as well. And then impact of committee assignments, we're seeing that if a board president is conflicted, then they would hand over that duty to pick committee chairs to the vice president, and then the president could not sit on any personnel type of committee, any type of financial, anything that would touch the job of their loved ones. I put in the chart for collective bargaining. This explains if you had a family member that worked in the district or even worked in the district, so you would be involved in negotiations and then ratifying the contract as well. This isn't really prevalent, but sometimes the union supports you in your campaign, and if that was the case, you couldn't be on negotiations for the first year that you're working. Volunteering in schools, we get a lot of questions about volunteering in schools. You can, of course, volunteer as a board member. It's just that level of volunteerism. So if you are going to give any type of directive to a staff member, then you couldn't do that type of volunteerism as a board member. But if you're going to just go in and read to the class or go on to the or what have you, you certainly can do that type of conduct, make sure that you go ahead and okay with the superintendent and the president, just let them know. But anytime that you're going to give any type of directive to staff, you should not be doing that type of volunteerism as a board member. And then we're having little issues with visiting of the schools. Sometimes board members are given that little key fob that you can get into the school, with that key fob. We're seeing board members take advantage of that, where they're just touring the schools when they feel that they want to take a look at something. That is not something that board members should do. You should only come to the schools when invited, or you're doing some type of volunteerism, and you should always let the superintendent know when you're going to the schools. And then social media. Social media is usually the biggest reason for the complaints to the commission. And it's usually about the content that board member, actually wrote. So when we think about the Ethics Act itself, you don't want to go against the confidence or the trust that the community has in us. And sometimes when we speak as a board member on that social media, then we're really saying to the public that we have individual authority. And you don't have individual authority as a board member. You only have authority when you're sitting at this table with your team and just part of the team. So just be mindful of that when you're posting. If you are going to be involved in posting on social media, go free far by any means, but it does let the public know that you're speaking in your personal capacity. And these are some of the social media cases, and you can see there where a board member references we. So when you say we, they think that you're speaking for the full board, and you wouldn't have the authority to do that. So there was a reprimand for using that board. And then we're seeing a lot of situations where, of course, there's telephones, your cell phone is at the table. Board members are texting from the table. Now, just be mindful that when you see you texting at the table, they can over your cell phone records. So we've had this happen numerous times lately, so we're just kind of warning all of you that if you are going to text at the table, just know that the community has that right. So if you do have an emergency where you have to text back, if you just leave the board table, maybe go out in the hallway to text, then you wouldn't have that type of issue. But we're seeing a lot of that from the community.
Does that include if you're looking up something related to what you're discussing?
Yeah, they're saying that anything that when you start typing on your phone, or it's become very prevalent where board members are getting phone books at their if you're typing, they can over, some community members feel that, how do I know that they're not telling each other how to vote and things like that, and I'm sure that's not the case, but it is something that's going on. So we're just warning the board members that that's something, that we've been seeing. The other thing that we've been seeing is board members are going in and advocating for their children, and of course, you can advocate for your child first and foremost, you're a parent. But you need to take that board member hat off, and that you should never say to a staff member that you're a board when you're discussing it. And then also, if you do have a campaign page for social media, now that your campaign is over, shut that down. You should never, send anything out from that page, because that gives that impression that you're speaking.
So when I mind about that, I don't think I've ever stated to a board member, but sometimes I feel like I should say, I'm here as a parent. Is that okay?
You can say that as long as it's
That's your severe.
you're there as a board member. You can say you're a parent, but you just,
But if I just don't say anything,
Yeah.
then I'm here as a parent.
Right, because that's the assumption that you're there, because you're talking about your child. But unfortunately, we've seen our board members say, well, we realize that I'm on the board, and, and
Right.
that's a.
Right, that's obvious. I thought I would have to clarify why what role I'm serving.
Yeah, and if that,
So maybe that's-
if you feel like you need to say that, that's one thing, but almost in a way, it's like, kind of still saying, I recognize that I'm a board member, and you should just be there. So we just say that. I put all the hyperlinks in there, oh yes.
When it comes to email, our email for the school, if we get correspondence from people on that email, are we allowed to answer them as long as we answer them generally?
You can't speak for the full board, so what happens when you're answering them is you're tempted to fix the problem or speak.
But if you're speaking from yourself and saying, I can listen to you.
Yeah, I would say I would not answer those emails because it goes down kind of a rabbit hole. So,
Okay.
if you feel uncomfortable that, that you're not answering, you would just say, receive, send, via chain of command to the superintendent or to the president. You can say something like that if you feel like that compels it, so you know that. But I would not, because your temptation is going to, just go, I can tell you it happens a lot, where you're going to do something nice and then it's just going to go on, and that email can be then weaponized against the board. Okay, yeah.
Do you have any idea how often board members emails get over?
It depends on the community. I can tell you that when I was board president in Vernon, we had those calls.
Or what's
It was us.
specific to like a board member in a certain discussion, or should I call the
Now,
emails?
we had some situations where there were certain board members that the community felt was doing something and
Oprah, usually there's like a specific initials or a topic or something that they have to identify.
They have to fill out that
So you're
form.
not, like, if you're
You're not looking at it.
they're not gonna send, like, you know, your grocery list or, you know, out to the public, right? They're gonna,
Yeah, it's gonna be like a certain time frame, you know, things like that. You know, it's not it's getting a little bit more popular, so we wanted to make sure that we put that in the presentation, just to let you know.
I think it just raises suspicion.
Yeah, I mean,
But I do think it's interesting in regards to email, because our emails are listed on the website
right.
for people to contact.
Yeah, so they can contact us, but we're not supposed to respond. Other than just
Right, right.
I guarantee you'll just get too worried when you email, and you'll do something out of kindness, and it will get to the next level, and it'll just cause problems. So we stick to chain of command, and there are some board members that say, like, I feel that I'm being rude by not, responding. Then you can just say receive. Anybody else? So I put these links into your electronic copy, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Last chance for questions?
Did you get that packet in our email?
Yes, you should. Can you
Okay. That's what I was looking for. I was like, did I miss something?
Oh, you should send it to
No, I was looking for the packet that you were referring to. I was like, it's not in the email.
Yeah.
Overrate what you were texting.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, so
I have it, I'll share.
you'll send it
I
out.
didn't see that.
No, I couldn't see you.
Generally,
I can see
there's
that
also
about
the
this.
New Jersey School Board's website that's an awesome resource for just about any same information, but you may have to dig a little further, right? So,
Yeah, sometimes you have to dig a little bit, but if you need any guidance on where to find something, my cell phone, you can call me anytime. I answer it 7 days a week.
And you do other trainings, right? That would be.
Yeah, I could do any trainings, I need to get invited in by the board president, but I could do any trainings that you feel that you need, so if you have a subject matter that you're struggling with, or, any of that. And then also make sure that you log into the county meetings. We have a lot of guest speakers on there, and it's really interesting information. So, we have great county presidents.
thank you again.
Thanks, Dad. Good seeing you.
Safe home.
Thanks for saying.
Okay, let's get back to business. Approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes, January 27, 2026, and executive session minutes of January 27, 2026. May I have a motion to accept those?
So moved.
In a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion, corrections, comments on those minutes? Seeing none, I'll take a roll call.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Wallenberg? Yes. Ms. Dorsey?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
yes.
Ms. Sakis?
Yes.
Ms. Gall? Mr. Vanstone?
Yes.
Ms. Hill? Yes. Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Passes.
So we've come to our first public comment section of the evening. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, we will open for public comments on agenda items only at this time. Each speaker should state his or her name and address. You will have 3 minutes to be timed to address the board, which will be timed by myself. We will limit this section to no longer than 45 minutes. Please be respectful and mindful that your comments are being recorded. And I don't see anyone in the room, and we have no comments submitted to our virtual platform. So I'd ask for a motion to close. In a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to presentations. First up, we have George Oriana, Speaker of the House. going to give us an update on activities of the Student Council. All yours, please.
Good evening, everyone. So I'd like to start off by mentioning the theme presentations that we have for this month and next month. For this month, February, we have Honesty, and for next month, we also have Trustworthiness. And I'd also like to recognize Tao Moro for soloing the presentation for this month, having completed the project and presented it all by himself. We also have the Matchmatics Fun Personality Quiz for Valentine's Day to see, who you might click with, essentially, as a friend or as something more. And then we also had the Valentine's Day stuffed animal and balloon candy giveaway for those who had purchased their Matchmatics results. We also have the Stuff the Bus program for Betty's Bodega to try and stuff the bus with any sort of supplies that they might accept for the pantry. So if anyone had anything they would like to donate or bring in, the box there. And then for the class-based activities, the senior class of 2026 is doing a Dine to Donate all-year restaurant fundraiser, one of many that they've been doing for Dine to Donate activities. And they are also doing a volleyball tournament for the first week of March, where it's an entry fee and the winner will receive a pizza. The Encourage the Pod fundraiser is being done by the junior class of 2027, and they also did a rose sale for Valentine's Day. And I believe that is all that I have.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next presentation, HPRHS President Lista Sunda.
Hi. Good evening. Can you hear me? Yes. I try not to read from this, but parts I may have to. To members of the board, I intended to discuss many of the ways that our faculty and staff have contributed to our community and helped create a positive environment for our students. We recently, this past weekend, Dr. Stacey Sorma and I attended a winter leadership conference for the union. We have been helping 27 families through the food pantry. We've also actively been participating in the Benny Bodega fundraiser. A couple weeks ago, we had a financial advisor come up to talk to the staff and teachers, admin, about financial responsibilities. But I would ask that you please allow me to return to this next month, as I would be remiss if I didn't take this moment to honor Mark Wallace, the retiree. If that is okay with you. It is with deep sadness that I acknowledge the passing of Mark Wallace this past Saturday. Our district has not only lost an extraordinary educator, but also a mentor, a leader, and a cherished member of our professional family. Mark was a true pioneer in engineering education. His vision and commitment to expanding opportunities for students led to the creation of a groundbreaking course, Women in Engineering. At a time when such initiative was far from common, Mark worked to ensure that young women saw themselves represented and empowered within technical and engineering pathways. His impact on students' confidence, their aspirations, and career paths will continue to be felt for generations. During his years teaching in Vernon, Mark influenced countless students, many of whom now serve as educators and staff members within our own school. Later, as the technology supervisor here at High Point, he provided guidance, mentorship, and a steady leadership to many of our current and former staff. His expertise, integrity, and unwavering support shape not only programs but people. Mark also served as our HPA president, advocating thoughtfully and tirelessly on behalf of his colleagues. And in that role, and in many informal ones, he was a mentor to so many of us. I am personally grateful to have called him a mentor and a friend. His wisdom, encouragement, and steady presence made a lasting difference in my own professional journey. Even in retirement, Mark remained deeply connected to our school community. Just last month, he had stopped by just to say hello. This is a gesture that perfectly reflected Mark's character. He continued to attend our luncheons and gatherings, always showing his enduring commitment to the relationship he built over a lifetime of service here at High Point. Mark Wallace's legacy is woven into the fabric of our district, in our programs, in our leadership, and most importantly, in the people he inspired. We are grateful for his service and will remember him with great respect and appreciation. Mark always had just a quick, he was quick at diffusing situations, and he was as clever as he was witty, or as smart as he was clever, and always had a joke. And I don't know one person who didn't know Mark or leave a conversation with Mark without a smile on their face. So thank you.
Mr. Tom, principal's report.
Well, good evening, everyone. See you this evening. I was wanted to share some words about Mark too, and I know that Liz did such an excellent job at covering many of the things that Mark represented here at High Point Regional School. He was a valued educator that started his career in Vernon. He was there for most of a career, I was supposed to say about 17 or 18 years, and he came to High Point. He was here for about 19 years as well. When I see Mark, I see a lot of things, a lot that Liz did so nice a job describing. He built our tech ed department and brought it to a state level and a national level. That was second to none. It truly was his vision, his leadership, his ability to build that program from the ground up. What means a lot about Mark, a lot about Mark was how he built the program. It was about being a mentor. It was about relationships, purely. It was always about programs, and he received a ton of awards at the state and national level, him as an individual, and the department as a whole, but it was about the individuals that he built within that department and the accolades that they were able to garner over the next 20-some years. Students that left that department went on, as Liz said, to be educators in technical education, just across the state, across the country. Some that are in our department right now currently that solely say that the reason why they're a teacher here at High Point in tech ed is because of Mark Wallace. So his mentorship and his ability to connect with all levels was just second to none. He meant a lot to us as individuals. But he was a man of character, but a man that defined that moving forward. Liz said he came back a month or so ago, 3 weeks ago, was here. The hallways, some kind of joke always says, always look Mark first. Made you laugh, made you cry along the way. But he meant what he said. He was involved with technical education post his retirement for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. He was involved at the state level. He was not going to let it just be something that he did for 30 years of his career. He carried it through. He was a mentor to current teachers that are in the programs now at multiple different schools. So he carried that torch beyond just the time of his son as an educator, and will be sorely missed. And miss his laugh and his time together as well. So thank you, Liz, for all these things that you said. We can go on and on about that. I'll try to transition over to our events, if we could, for the school. A lot of things that are going on, and I'll transition to athletics as well from Mr. Dexter. A couple things to highlight coming up in the future dates. We have our college, career, and wellness fair. That's going to be on March 26th. We're excited about that because we're going to pretty much take over the cafeteria, the Annex, the West Gym, the Media Center, with college, career, and wellness fairs. It's going to be great for our kids because they're exposed to all kinds of things. The military is also going to be here as well. Last year we had over 40 businesses that were part of the career fair. It's important to make sure we expose our students to things that they may see with themselves in at the next step. Right? So we do have our sophomores and freshmen come for a little bit as well, mostly geared towards our juniors and seniors, but 9th and 10th graders, you can see that as well. So thank you to our guidance department for organizing that again each and every year and making that such a great event. On March 27th and 29th, if you're looking for anything that maybe you come out and do, we are having Freaky Friday here for our spring musical. We're excited about that. And that's going to be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 2 o'clock. So make sure I get that out to you ahead of time to know our March meeting will be somewhere in that week, but I want to make sure that you do that for those dates as well. I think you can just talk to the doctor if we were just overspelled and get tickets lined up for that. Also, we're excited because we launched last week our first Hope Squad. Hope Squad I talked about a little bit before in the past, but it is a mental health resource for our students, where students are nominated by their peers. It's a very prestigious group. It's actually a club that Mrs. Finicari and Mrs. Pagan are the ones that are volunteering to oversee and coordinate. It's a national program, very, very common out in Midwestern states as it comes to find out. Actually came from a place in Utah that was first established. And it is really just that bystander role and how important that bystander role is for our youth when they are seeing things or hearing things that their friends are struggling with. So we just are, it's a very strategic plan that the program lays out. It's called a program, that's really kind of what it is in terms of the national level. And we have to have nominations, and then we go through a process of selection of the nominations. We'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks, but it is a nomination of peer-to-peer. It's not based on popularity contests, it's not based on the most amount of clubs and sports that you're in. It's based on the questions that they ask you. Specifically, we asked our students last week, who would be the person that you go to? And he asked that it was really difficult to talk to. Those are the students that won nominated for this Hope Squad. So we're appreciative of Ms. Finicari, Mrs. Pagan's leadership on that. They had to go through a ton of training as well, even though they're already certified in a lot of things in this program. So we're excited about what that looks like, and again, bringing a mental health resource to our students along the way. We're also excited because in New Jersey, we were a partner at the beginning of this year with a grant that was able to support the program, pay for the grant for a couple of years to cover that basis. So that's also very, very important. Also, last week we had an opportunity that our sophomore class officers, led by Mrs. Van Orden, went to Manor House for a field trip. We talk about field trips all the time. I know Mr. Campbell talks about them as well and how important they are. So you think about a small trip like that to Manor House. For those who don't know, Manor House is a food pantry, a kitchen in the Presbyterian Church in Newton. And our students went there. Mrs. Van Orden was connected to the individual named Kathy, and they're looking for volunteers all the time. So our students, there were 8 of them. They went with Mrs. Van Orden and Mrs. Imperio, another one of our class advisors and teachers, and they served in the kitchen. And they prepared the food, they cooked the food, and they cleaned up afterwards, and they served the food. I went there for a little bit because I couldn't resist stopping by and saying hello to them and helping out. And one of the patients that came, they served about 44 individuals that day, which was a high number to say. It's usually about 25 or so. So I'm thankful for that. She said to the girls that were serving at the counter, you're not only serving food, but you're serving love. And the kids really kind of struck them about what that was. I mean, I've had a lot of conversations about people that they're serving and what types of struggles that they're going through. That's what they were. So again, a small example of a field trip that was during the day, lifelong impact for those students that were there. Because some of them never even knew what the Manor House was, what it did, and now looking for other ways to volunteer there, and Harvest House and other places that were here as well. So just kudos to Ms. Van Orden for organizing that and getting that up and running. We're looking to build that a couple times a year, take the groups there and work in that aspect of it. Also, we had our students in the second market period. So I want to read our list here that we have, which is always one of the most enjoyable times for me, because I get the chance to sit in a round table of students and just pick their brains, talk to them, listen to them, have lunch with them, which really is an enjoyable time for me. So I want to make sure that they get their shout-outs. We've already shouted them out several times, but the principal student was Sandra Aquino Cervantes. Business was Chloe Kinney. English was June Pecorello. Physical education was Gavin Kaminsky. Health was Leah Klimas. Social studies was Lisa Carr. Mathematics was Layla Rochelle. Performing arts, Katie Birch. Science, Ted Gustafson, Technical Studies, Ellie Hernandez, Visual Arts, Boyle, and World Language, Brooke Wagner. We sit down and we talk to these students about why they think they got recognized, what's the favorite classes, what classes they'd love to take here, what classes they would love to take at Inco. It's really a genuine conversation. We actually build a lot of our course feedback from these conversations because they said, hey, if I could take a class, it would be this, and so blank. Maybe we offer it, maybe we don't offer it. Why would you want to take that class? What's important about that? And it's just a really neat opportunity to be with the students and talk to them. And I know that the staff takes it very, very seriously as well. So we're looking to continue to honor them. In band, we had a regional honors band. Jack Gainey, who is a freshman, was recently accepted as the baritone saxophone, making first chair, which is, for those that don't know band, that's like top varsity level. In the concert band, went to practicing performing alongside those students in North Jersey. And he's performing down at Parsippany High School on March 8th. So kudos to Jack again as a freshman to be able to be recognized at that level. Also, one of our bowling accolades, Katie Bruno, Sussex County Girls Bowler of the Year. Outstanding acknowledgement for her. According to Coach Perry, who is a wealth of knowledge, no another individual up here at the board level that used to coach bowling back in the day. But Coach Perry said this is the third time in the 4-year history of organization of this group that High Point Bowl has been named as a prestigious award. Kira Lewis, who just graduated, had it 2 times. In the 4th year in a row, that High Point girl has the best average in that and Jack North Division. Testament to hard work of our athletes, and I said a testament also to our coach, Mr. Perry, who's done a fantastic job with that as well. Teen Arts is coming up March 10th. For those of you that don't know what Teen Arts is, it's at Sussex County Community College. There's hundreds of students there from all across the county that are invited, and it's visual arts, performing arts, it's band, it's digital arts, it's all kinds of arts, it's poetry, it's everything that you could possibly imagine at Teen Arts. This really is a great time for our county as a general to be able to see that. So that's March 10th at SDC. A couple things for staff recognition. Corey Lola again continues on her journey for the Fulbright educator. I know we talked about that before. Mr. Kevin and I have talked about that before, but she will be going to some overseas leadership work with the Fulbright educator program, which is outstanding. When I talked to her the other day after she came back from a shorter version of that, Corey is, and she'd be mad at me if I was talking if she was right here, but that's okay, is a professional leader, professional development leader in our village. She's a master teacher, second to none, but she's had a growth mindset that is just, unbelievable. She said that this is somebody that's been through every professional development that you can imagine. This is absolutely the best professional that she's ever been a part of, hands down. She can't wait to see where it takes her and what she learns from that as well. So just kudos to her on that. Also like to give a shout out to our HPA executive group, Liz and Mark Russell. Liz, you can see every month. Mark Russell, Christina DiMatteo, Ben Kapler, Stacey Zaremba, part of the executive team, because they are bringing outstanding resources to our staff on a regular basis. One of them she mentioned before, the financial planning. We're talking about college stuff, we're talking about all kinds of things. It's just a vibrant feeling to have a collaborative effort and working to how can we bring resources to our staff, how can we bring things that are going to make their career and their life better. Just some of the things. So thank you, Liz, for all that you're doing with that. It goes a long ways. It definitely is not going nowhere. So thank you for that. Okay, to transfer to athletics. It's done. Okay. Try to hit a couple highlights. One is we're in state tournament time. We would have been at the state girls would have had girls basketball tonight, but that got moved because of the snowstorm that you may or may not have heard about. So that's going to be Thursday for our girls basketball team at home, game at 5 o'clock, and the boys basketball team will be away on Thursday on the same night. Our girls and boys wrestling teams lost in close matches in the state sectional finals. That was the first sectional final in state history because it didn't exist up until this year. The NJSA has finally got to the point where they're able to have the state tournaments for girls wrestling. Girls and boys lost back-to-back nights. It's a tough mates. Now goes from team to individual for our wrestling team. So our wrestling girls and boys programs, based on how they perform at districts, could go on and perform all the way down to the state level, which will be later on in March. Because now all the team stuff is done. We also have bowling that achieved their state qualification as well. So there's been a lot of teams that were part of that. Also wanted to hit this as Mr. Dexter has given me just their athletes of the week. I want to make sure I get that covered as well. So we have Mitchell Howell, who was our unified basketball player, athlete of the week. We had Peyton Mann, who was one of our girls wrestlers, athlete of the week. Janelle Anderson, who was for com cheer. Thomas Salvi, who was for ski. Evan Fisher, who was for boys basketball. Mackenzie LaRue, who was for girls swimming. Claire Saminsky was for girls basketball. Gabe Elson for boys basketball. Jaden Newball for wrestling. Riley Benvera for girls swimming. Kennedy Shepard for girls basketball. And Gabrielle Benefalo for girls wrestling. And then finally, last but not least, Jack Kithcart for boys wrestling. So that was a summation of about 3 weeks worth of athletes of the week. And I'll make sure that we shout them out as well because they're doing excellent things. Some of them are still going their seasons. Any question on any of that?
Congratulations to all those athletes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no other business, so on to action items, curriculum, instruction, and technology.
Yes, okay. I'll be moving all that together. Faculty attendance for January was 94.2, student attendance for January was 94. Suspension report is attached, and 4 is our harassment or hidden reports attached. Okay. Item number 5 is a list of field trips listed to be approved. Number 6 is the approval of professional development activities, and number 7 is the approved of the High Point Walker Valley STEM Week. That's about it. I'm moving it. Could I have a second?
Second.
Does anybody have any comments on that or question? Didn't think so. Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Van Stone.
Yes.
Ms. Wise.
Yes.
Ms. Hill.
Yes.
Ms. Diaz.
Yes.
Ms. Backus.
Yes.
Ms. Orsi.
Yes.
Ms. Longberg.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Passes.
Next group up is personnel. Mrs. Orsi?
I will move items 1 through 3 together.
Can I ask a question on 3? In light of
Oh, we got to put to a second before we can have a
Oh,
discussion
okay.
on it. So, sorry.
Soon.
Tell me when.
The first is a recommendation by the superintendent to accept with regret the retirement of Deborah Little, bus driver. Thank you for your service, Deborah Little. Number 2 is another retirement notification. Accepted with regret, Kelly Reynolds, world language teacher. Thank you for your service. And number 3 is the approval of substitutes Jordan Florio, Sandra Mazzola, Vanilda Watts, and Kevin Murphy. Wait, questions or?
You gotta make a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
Thank you. And,
I
Lee?
can ask a question now.
Yes.
In light of the ethics discussion, one of the individuals on 3 is my mother-in-law. I thought that I saw a slide saying that we couldn't hire a relative of a board member. Am I correct in seeing that on there? I don't want to be in
Yeah,
a
good
conflict
question.
there.
Household.
Because it didn't describe, it described it on the back as a conflict here, but it's not a teaching position.
It's
But I thought it
advisable
said
to abstain.
just abstain or
Yes, sir.
recuse? Not
Or
or
recuse. Be better if you just recuse.
No, I was going to recuse.
Okay.
But I'm saying, can that person even be hired? Because it's a relative of mine. Can the school hire? I'm just making sure. I didn't know if it was a place to ask. I didn't want to ask, I didn't know if it was a place to ask.
Mother-in-law is not considered
You just can't
relative.
vote on it.
I'm okay with that, I just wanted to ask, I just wanted to throw it out there.
This isn't a permanent position, right? It's
No.
something to- yeah. I guess we can,
I'm just letting it be known, because I was going to recuse, but I just wanted to throw it out there to make sure.
Thank you for bringing that up. Mother-in-law is not on this list of familial relationships.
Yes, it's not.
I believe a mother-in-law is not considered
spouse's partner's parents is listed on the back.
Oh, there it is. Spouses.
Mr. Anderson, we are not going to get in trouble, the rest of the board, by voting for her. You could, so I guess.
Oh, okay.
You know.
I'm okay with whatever the whole board feels is good with me.
This is about being complicit though for negotiations.
Maybe, I just thought that I saw a slide that she had that specifically said something regarding, I didn't think it was an issue until I saw that slide that said something about
I
this.
think
But did you see
when
that
the
slide?
problem, I did, but I'm just remembering from my thinking the
Yeah.
ethic, that it would be, for negotiations, you couldn't.
Okay,
If they were, like, if she's employed here, you could not be on negotiation.
correct.
I think this level is only for that, but not for hiring. I think that's the case, but.
I thought it was that way, so I saw that slide.
The individuals listed are not going to be in association.
Correct.
They're substitutes, so it wouldn't have
So they
anything to
probably
do with
would not
negotiations. The reason I said abstain is it's a choice that you can make so as to avoid any appearance of impropriety.
That's what I wanted to do.
Any other questions? Thank you for asking for that clarification.
Roll call.
Okay. Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Stackus?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
It will be a yes, but abstain on Leo know the once.
On which?
Leo know the once.
Okay. Ms. Lomberg?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
It passes.
Okay, extracurricular, I will move items 1 through 7. One is a recommendation to approve an overnight trip for the competing members of the boys wrestling team to attend the NJSIAA Individual Wrestling Championships being held in Atlantic City as listed. Item 2 is recommendation to approve hosting the NJSIAA District 1 Girls Wrestling Tournament on March 1st, 2026, as listed. Item 3 is a recommendation to accept the resignation notification from William Percy as head football coach effective immediately. Item 4 is a recommendation to accept the resignation notification from Natalie DiCarlo as assistant volleyball coach effective for the 26-27 school year. Item 5 is a recommendation to approve the baseball team to attend the Florida Coast Spring Training Academy March 18th through the 23rd as listed. Item 6 is a recommendation to approve Thomas Edge as assistant unified track coach for the 2026 school year at the grant-funded stipend of $500. And item 7 is a recommendation to approve Will Nahan as head football coach effective for the 2026-2027 school year as listed. So I make that motion on 1 through 7. Can I have a second?
Second.
Your choice on this. Any comments or discussion on any of those items under extracurricular?
I have a question.
Sure.
In regard to question 5, in regards to the baseball trip, if, I know they're asking us to exceed, to cover the bus to and from the airport not to exceed $850. If they raise that money, is it still expected for us to contribute?
I believe what they have fundraised for is for the actual academy itself.
Okay.
All of the other expenses.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually an excellent question. It is something that we have historically done. It is recommended to the board to allocate the funds for the transportation.
No, I think that's fine. I was just curious if they were to raise,
Right.
More than above.
Right.
Would it go towards something like that too, or does it just go to more, stuff for them?
I think it goes more for the team and for the students.
Mhm.
And it is the recommendation of the board to graciously consider allocating the monies for the transportation.
Any other questions, comments? And roll call.
Ms. Lomberg?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Stackus?
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone?
Yes.
Ms. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Passes.
Back to you, Mrs. Dorsey, for policy.
We'll move 1 through 3 together. New policies, and item number 1 are sexual harassment and library material. Number 2, we have revised policies, nepotism, employment, chief of school administrator, and resource materials, and public complaints. And in number 3, we are abolishing the old policies, sexual harassment, and the new ones will replace. Making a motion, so need a second.
Second.
Any questions?
So there are no new ones as of yet, it's just the abolishment on number 3.
Well, the new ones
The
are
ones are
number
the first one.
Okay.
Doing it all in one.
Abolishment, okay. And I just want to make sure that it's noted in case it wasn't in all copies. On item 2, the last regulation 2530 was struck,
And we will.
so that will not be part of this. Right.
We'll
So
work on that for
anticipating
next
to have
week.
that on the agenda next month. There was considerable discussion, even up to today, as to the verbiage that would be supported by the members of the committee. Therefore, it was determined that it was best to hold off on that particular line item until next month, when the committee is more thoroughly convinced that what is put forward is appropriate.
Can I ask a question? So, in one, are we approving what was the first reading, or is this the first reading of those rules?
That's the first reading.
So then, I mean, there still has to be an additional reading before they're adopted, right? So then, would it be, is it too early to abolish the existing rules? Because then there's not going to be any rule in place until the second reading.
Well, I will say 2 things. First of all, that's a great question. Second of all, I'll say 3. Second of all, that is the mandate from that is the recommendation from the company that writes them. And let me, third of all, a first reading, while not officially in the omnibus of policies and regulations, it does have the effect of enforceability once having been read for the first time. If in lieu of an alternative, that is my understanding. Whether that's carved in stone, I'm not certain, but it is my understanding. But a great question, and certainly a discussion about whether, does that leave us without a policy?
So then, I'm guessing the second reading will be in the next meeting?
Yes.
So does it make sense then to just delay on 3, or at least the sexual harassment, so that we have some policy in place, so that we're really protected as opposed to...
We aren't going to be following the other policy because it is obsolete.
I think it's mandated to make a change, so it kind of makes
So-
the old policy obsolete regardless.
It is, yes.
So the old policy's not.
There were components of the old policy that are incorporated into the new policy, which is based upon code and changes that are either obsolete or no longer in line with the code, and therefore they write the new policy. Nevertheless, it doesn't change the fact that it's an excellent point. Does that leave us therefore without a policy or regulation on sexual harassment? In my opinion, it does not. However, I think it's a valid point, and certainly one that is gray, in my opinion.
But you're saying Strauss-Esme did recommend both of these changes?
Yes, ma'am.
At the
Would
same
it-
time?
yes.
So
Would it behoove us
They
to just
generally-
make an amendment that approval of it pending the implementation of the new, so it's covered?
I mean,
Can it be tabled to next month?
Well, I'm saying regardless of table, you could just make an amendment to the motion that the.
which motion?
To the motion for number 3, that it is abolished upon
Second reading of the policy.
implementation of the new policy. So whenever that we have voted, whenever the new one is implemented, the old one is gone.
So are you
So
deciding on
so
motion
I
to
am
amend?
going to move that we amend item 3 to read, that is recommended that superintendent approve to abolish the following policies and regulations upon implementation of items listed in 1.
Second.
Does anybody have any questions
You got a
about that?
second, you got a second.
Okay, need a second. So any discussion, further discussion on the amendment as Mr. Van Stone has put forth?
So we're voting on the amendment.
So we're voting on the
Yeah,
amendment
we have to
first,
vote on the
okay?
amendment first, yes.
This is on number 3.
Right. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, let's start with Mr. Van Stone.
Yes.
Ms. Stackis.
Yes.
Ms. Diaz.
Yes.
Ms. Orsi.
Yes.
Ms. Longberg.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Hill. Yes. Ms. Wise.
Yes.
And Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Okay. So the amendment move is passed.
So now we.
So,
Now
Vote on
let's
just-
yeah,
discuss
so
and vote on
still on the floor is the
all three.
motion to move all 3.
Yes.
As number 3 is amended.
And I would just correct that motion to include that number 3 is as amended. That's the amendment.
Okay.
Right, so just,
Make a motion to move all 3 together with the number 3 being amendments.
okay.
Second.
Any further discussion on any of those 3 items? Use my Robert rules tonight. Okay, we'll take a roll call on those 3.
Okay. Ms. Orsi.
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone.
Yes.
Ms. Hill.
Yes.
Ms. Wise.
Yes.
Ms. Stackis.
Yes.
Ms. Diaz.
Yes.
Ms. Longberg.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Passes as amended.
Thank you.
Nice.
We're better for it. Okay, we have no negotiations, buildings and grounds action items, so moving on to finance, I will move 1 through 6. 1 is a recommendation to accept the report of the Board Secretary Business Administrator for January 2026. And 2 is a recommendation to accept the report of the Treasurer for January 2026. And 3 is a recommendation to approve the report of transfers and minimum expense transfer report for January 2026. Item 4 is a recommendation to approve for payment the attached schedule of audited bills dated February 24th, 2026. Item 5 is a recommendation to accept, and usually I read them all, but all of those accounts for January 2026. Item 6 is a recommendation to approve vendor payments for the spring musical to the individuals listed. Payment will be made through the spring musical student activities account, no cost to the district. Item 7, actually that was 6. Okay, so items 1 through 6. I make that motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Ms. Diaz.
Yes.
Ms. Stackis.
Yes.
Ms. Orsi.
Yes.
Ms. Longberg.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone.
Yes.
Ms. Hill.
Yes.
Ms. Wise.
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, I will move a number of these individually. 7 is a recommendation that the board acknowledge and gratefully accept an anticipated grant from New Jersey STEM Pathways Network in the amount of $500 to support the upcoming hosting of the High Point Wallkill Valley STEM League event for students in our collective sending districts. I'll make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? Just want to acknowledge New Jersey STEM Pathways Network for their
Yes,
thank you. Roll call.
Ms. Wise.
Yes.
Ms. Hill.
Yes.
Mr. Van Stone.
Yes.
Ms. Stackis.
Yes.
Ms. Diaz.
Yes.
Ms. Orsi.
Yes.
Ms. Longberg.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Passes.
Item 8 is a recommendation that the Board of Education acknowledges and gratefully accepts a donation of $1,000 from Hannah Catterman, class of 2008, to establish a $1,000 annual scholarship for a graduating senior to be called the Hannah Catterman Scholarship for Leadership and Service. I will gladly make that motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any comments?
Again, thank you.
Thank you to Hannah Catterman, having to know her parents. They're very proud of her, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Longworth?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Stackus?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Mr. Vanstone?
Yes.
Ms. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Passes.
Item 9 is a recommendation that the board approves the application for a grant from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for approximately $100,000 to carry out a project to improve essential athletics infrastructure and technology components such as fencing, field improvements, and power upgrades to the press box and scoreboard. I make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Fingers crossed.
Exactly.
Amen to that. Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Vanstone?
Yes.
Ms. Stackus?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Longworth?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Passes.
Item 10 is a recommendation that the board accepts the grant award from the Mental Health Association in New Jersey in the amount of $1,500 to be used for mental health training supplies. Make that motion.
Second.
And once again, any comments or discussions? But otherwise, I want to thank Mental Health Association in New Jersey. We have some very generous donors this month. Roll call.
Ms. Longworth?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Stackus?
Yes.
Mr. Vanstone?
Yes.
Ms. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Passes.
And finally, I will move 11 and 12 together. 11 is a recommendation the board approves and authorizes the execution of the following tuition contracts between High Point as the sending district and the following districts. Related information as listed. And item 12 is a recommendation the board approves James Minkowitz as a consultant as needed effective February 2nd, 2026 at the per diem rate of $600. I will make that motion.
Second.
Comments, discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Vanstone?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Longworth?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Stackus?
Yes.
Ms. Hill? Yes. Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Passes.
And finally, under transportation. This is what?
Sure.
Which
That was only
exceptionally light, what the hell?
15 years, the shortest transportation that I've ever seen.
There's usually 22.
I'm going to put number 1 and 2 together. It is recommended that the board provides resolution presentation for a joint transportation agreement for the 2026-2027 school year between the Sussex County Regional Transportation Cooperative and High Point Regional High School for anticipated special education transportation with a 4.5% administrative fee, and the rest there. And then for number 2, it is recommended by the superintendent the board approves resolution for participation in coordinated transportation agreement for the 2026-2027 school year between the Warren County Special Services School District and High Point Regional High School for anticipated special education transportation, public and or non-public transportation with a high 5.5% administrative fee.
Make a motion. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion seeking a second.
Yes. Did I hear something? Oh, nice, okay, sorry, I didn't hear. Sorry. Any discussion or comments on those lengthy items?
Whatever, that cash flow.
Ms. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Vanstone?
Yes.
Ms. Stackus?
Yes.
Ms. Orsi?
Yes.
Ms. Longworth?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Ms. Hill? Yes. Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, we have no correspondence. Standing item miscellaneous about board member mandated training. So our second public comment section of the evening, same rules apply. No one in the room. Any comments to our virtual platform? I'd ask for a motion to close public comments.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public comments closed. Any non-committee board member reports or comments at this time? Okay, normally we would seek to adjourn. However, I would like to make a motion to enter an executive session, second of the evening, to discuss items related to the contract renewal of Dr. Ritter. So I'll make that motion.